This video covers some of the key concepts in targeting as outlined in the Joint UNHCR-WFP Guidance for Targeting Assistance to Meet Basic Needs. So when certain terminology is used, rather than being confused, colleagues are able to engage fully. Targeting is the process by which populations in need are identified to enable the provision of timely and relevant assistance. Prioritization differs from targeting in that it is resource-driven and occurs when funding shortfalls mean that not all needs of the population can be met with the available resources. Prioritization decisions can be made in three different ways. Firstly, to reduce the amount of assistance per beneficiary while keeping the total number of people stable, reduce the number of beneficiaries while keeping the assistance value stable, or a combination of reducing the amount of assistance and reducing the number of beneficiaries. In the humanitarian context, the term basic or essential needs refers to essential goods, utilities, services, or resources required by households for ensuring survival and minimum living standards, including but not limited to food, water, shelter, clothing, healthcare, sanitation, protection, and education. Refugee registration refers to the process of recording, verifying, and updating information of a defined population to register them for direct assistance, protection, or another clearly defined purpose. Refugee registration verification exercises is a time-bound registration activity conducted in a specific area and for a specific population and consists of verifying and updating individual information. It helps to re-establish accurate population figures at a given moment in time, producing the data needed to determine assistance requirements and design relevant protection programming. A needs assessment is the use of qualitative and quantitative tools, such as a survey or focus group questionnaire, to identify the number of people requiring external assistance to meet their essential needs. A census is the collection of data for all units, individuals or households for a population, such as a refugee registration exercise conducted by UNHCR. A sample-based survey is the collection of data for a subpart of the population, called a sample. This is often used to estimate with precision the characteristics of the whole population. When UNHCR conducts refugee registration through Progress, its corporate registration tool, it groups people by registration case. In refugee settings, UNHCR's registration database Progress is often the database used to generate the sample. The units in Progress are listed as cases, which are different from a household as defined in standard survey methodology, which is built around the concepts of shared dwelling and housekeeping arrangements, often simplified to people who live together and eat from the same pot. A case is a grouping of people considered together for a specific purpose, usually in relation to a decision or action, such as in status determination or resettlement. Most of the time, the family, household, and cases that an individual belongs to will all be composed of the same persons. However, this may not always be the case, especially as people move and adapt to their new environment. For example, it is frequently observed that several cases, in particular those comprised of single individuals, join up to effectively form a household, living and eating together. Moreover, one or several members of the case may leave the other members to form a new household or join another household. In targeting, profiling is the identification of demographic and socio-economic characteristics of the population in need that informs the eligibility criteria and programmatic intervention. Profiling aims to identify the key characteristics of those who are food insecure and or socio-economically vulnerable while taking protection analysis into account. Profiling is an analytical exercise that identifies common characteristics among the most vulnerable households, as well as among those who can meet their own needs. Data is analyzed to understand which characteristics are associated with food insecurity and socio-economic vulnerability. The targeting of assistance to meet food and other basic needs of refugees, to ensure their survival and a minimum level of physical and mental well-being, should be grounded in a robust analysis of the food security and socio-economic vulnerabilities and the protection risks faced by the population. This will determine who can and cannot meet their basic needs and what can be done to address those needs. Correlation in vulnerability analysis is a statistical measure that expresses the extent to which two variables, which is a quantity that may change, are related. It's a common tool for describing simple relationships without making a statement about cause and effect. For example, we may see a correlation between food insecurity and protection risks, which are often linked. We may also see links between food insecurity and certain demographic information, such as household size or whether there is only a single head of household. Correlation in vulnerability analysis can be helpful, as it can take information available only for a sample of the population and apply links to information that can be applied to the whole population. No targeting method assures the perfect targeting of intended population. The validation of a targeting method is the use of qualitative and quantitative analysis to help assess the appropriateness and accuracy of different targeting methods prior to decision making in order to minimize targeting errors. The verification of recipients are checks to ensure that the intended recipients are the ones receiving.